Aha, me boys with lighting.
Well, we should start by inviting the people out in the internet land of the web to our most recent podcast. Here we are in Great Big Sea Studios, everybody. I'm here, Sean. I am Sean, unless you like Alan better. I'm here with Kayla Mahoney from Gearbox, among other things. I'm here with Larry Foley from The Punters, among other things. Mark Neer, our engineer, and our special guest tonight is Fergus O'Byrne from Ryan's Fancy, and we are going to do this
among other things.
I suppose there's a lot of stuff we can talk about here. And tonight is going to be kind of dedicated to Ryan's Fancy, and
make it sort of a special dedication of an evening to Dermot O'Reilly, my good buddy who left us a couple of weeks ago. And but we're not only going to play his stuff, but we'll play a whole bunch of stuff that sort of shows the history of the band, really.
Well, let's start with a cheers to Dermot, everybody.
Cheers to Dermot.
Clink, clink,
Clink, chunk, chink, 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 chink.
Indeed.
This is water bottles for those of you at home.
Yeah. And let's start at the beginning, I guess. The first question I would have for you, Fergus, to bring us all up to date, some of us might know, but a lot of people won't out in Webland, is how did this all start?
Well, it started back in 1968 when I came to Canada when I was 19. I was a mandolin player. I was a young fella from Ireland who had just moved out of Ireland for economic reasons more than as much as anything else, and family reasons. My family moved to the States, but I ended up in Toronto when I was a mandolin player, and at the time, you know, it's just like, I suppose, just like Newfoundland in a way, coming from Ireland, there were always parties on the go among the Irish, and I was going around just playing parties. I was working in an office and playing at different parties and stuff, playing the mandolin and playing a bit of guitar and singing. I sometimes got known as the dirty ballad singer because I used to sing some of the Dublin ballads and stuff like that. But then I got invited down to a tavern, and being the middle class Dublin man that I was, I phoned Better Business Bureau before I went down to it. This is the Windsor House. And I was told, no, maybe you don't want to go down there, so I went down, and anyway. And that was it. I started playing with the fella by the name of Tony Crowley, or Mick Banjo as they used to call him, and there was a whole bunch of then Irish young fellas like myself who were just kicking around playing, and just, you know, the whole, that was the whole development of the folk thing, you know, the 60s, Bob Dylan and Joan Baez and Tom Paxton and all them, for Clancy Brothers, and so we were just in it for a lark, and then suddenly somebody offered us money and some beer to sing and play, and we said, well, geez, I was 19, what are you going to say, work in an office or play music and get paid money and beer? Yeah. You know, so that was it.
So is this the first band we're looking
at? No,
the
first band was way before that even. I mean, I was just, we were two or three of us just jamming away in the pub, and then we moved upstairs, and then I met Ralph and Gary, and then we invited Dermot along at one stage, who arrived late. And 10 minutes before the gig we figured out what we were going to play, what keys we were going to be in, and went down, and that was it.
And this was Sullivan, this became...
No, that was Sons of Erin.
And that was
the
previous
Sons of Erin. I never recorded with the Sons of Erin though. Oh. That was prior to the Sullivan's Gypsies.
I thought it was the other way around actually.
No, Sons of Erin was the very first thing that I ever and in fact every week we seem to have a different name until we settle on the Sons of Erin.
Was that a tax thing, or
no? Yeah, right.
Tax dodge.
Yeah, right.
Was that a better business? That move?
It was just we could never settle on it, depending on how the night went.
So Ralph was here already with Ralph O'Brien.
Ralph was in Toronto too. Yeah.
He was already there.
He was already there, yeah. And he I think he came out in '66. I came in '67. Dermot came in '67. Dennis came in '68, I think. But anyway, so Dermot and myself sort of hit it off musically playing. And then, you know, as usual, when you're young and you're fighting among bands sort of disintegrated and came together again. And
you didn't even have a bass player.
No bass player. 2 microphones. Myself and Dermot shared a microphone for 2 vocals and a banjo and a guitar. 1 microphone.
Were they electric? There's no pickups in your guitar?
No. Just two tiny little columns up in the wall. Just, you know.
Did people listen in, Fergus? Is that the difference?
I suppose they did. Yeah.
I ask myself that question continually.
People tell me that they did, because in even in later years in the Strand Lounge, where you only had what do they call them?
Six shore columns.
The shore columns, and every time you stamped your feet, the thing went doing, 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 doing.
Oh, the reverb in it, yeah. Spring reverb.
Yeah. If people danced it all, it'd be a racket.
Yeah, but they did dance. Jeez, I remember people up on the tables in the Strand Lounge, but I guess they were wearing slippers or something.
Quieter times.
Vance.
But yeah, so anyway, out of the Sons of Erin, I never recorded with the Sons of Erin, and then the Sullivan's Gypsies, I ended up with Don Sullivan and Dennis and Dermot and Gary. There was 5 of us, and we recorded a couple of albums. And this one here was particular one. It was with RCA, I think, and we're going to play one here, a jig called Ryan's Fancy.
What track?
That Dennis wrote. Dennis Ryan wrote it. But and that's why it's called Ryan's Fancy, track 2, and that's eventually how the name became Ryan's Fancy. It wasn't that we called it after Dennis as much as we were looking for a name, and we were looking through the CD, the album, the CD, the album. We were looking at the vinyl album, and I saw this, and I said we wanted to be known as an Irish band, but we didn't want to be the Irish this or the Irish that or the Blarney this or the Blarney that. And then I saw Ryan's Fancy and said maybe that's a name. So
let's have a listen to Ryan's Fancy.
Think it's going to work out?
On St. Patrick's Day the 17th, from New York we set sail. By fortune did favor us with a sweet and a pleasant gale. We bore away from America, the wind being off the land, and with courage bravely proud the waves bound down for Newfoundland. Now our captain's name was Nelson, just 20 years of age, as true and brave a sailor lad that ever ploughed the waves. The evening our break was called, then on unto the main, and with courage brave we ploughed the waves bound down for Newfoundland. Now when 3 days out, to our surprise, our captain he fell sick, In short, he was not able to take his turn on deck. The fever raged, which made us think that death was near at hand. So we bore away from Halifax, bound down for Newfoundland. Now at 3 o'clock we sighted a light that we were glad to see. The smallpox had been raging, that's what it proved to be. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, as sure as God's command, oh, he passed away in Arishat, bound down for Newfoundland. And now all night long we did lament our dear departed friend, and we were praying unto God for what had been his end. We pray that God might guide us and keep us by his hand, and send kind waves and pleasant gales bound down for Newfoundland.
So they're bound down from Newfoundland.
Don't you love that reverb and the seagulls?
Well, I was going to ask, the seagulls thing came in the end there, so someone went out on Lake Ontario, I suppose.
Yeah, right, yeah. Yeah. Even in those days, I suppose they had, yes, I remember they used to have, they'd have vinyls of all these different sound things that
Right.
they use, and they just stick it in there.
I thought you were going to say session goals.
Bring in session
What's the
goals.
scale on a couple of seagulls?
Yeah. But the Bound Down for Newfoundland that Dermot sang, now, I'm not quite sure where he got it, but I think he may have heard it from a band called the Corries, who were a Scottish band.
Right, yeah. In
I
the
mean,
60s.
that song Bound Down for Newfoundland was known in
Outside
the folk
of here,
spheres,
yeah.
outside of here. Yeah, I mean, it's not so much it's a Newfoundland song as it's a song about the eastern seaboard.
Yeah, well, it
you
mentions
know.
Ayrshire in there.
Yeah,
It's
people-
more like a Nova Scotia song. And
Yeah, but
hidden for Newfoundland.
people sailing out of the States coming down the
Yeah.
States. So, you know.
Schooner days, yeah.
So would you have, at this time, did you even know Newfoundland was where it is? Or
No. No. Well, yeah.
it's part of Canada? Or you
Yeah,
know?
Sullivan's Gypsies, actually, we had toured by that time
Was
down
Newfoundland a
here.
part of Canada then?
Was Canada
Reluctantly.
existing?
This was 1867.
I was ahead of
wasn't
the
it?
Matthew.
That was the honeymoon phase, actually.
But yeah, we had toured by that time down in Newfoundland. But up to that point, I had no idea what Newfoundland was all about. I hadn't a clue. I mean, some people in Ireland did know it, but being from Dublin and a big city, I had not a clue. In fact, the first time I flew into Newfoundland, such was my lack of knowledge of the place, I imagined sort of very rural sort of. And when I flew into St. John's, I mean, I was really amazed and just taken aback by the place, because I had no clue. And of course, in Toronto at the time, the only thing you heard about Newfoundland was negative.
Yeah.
You know, the total negative attitude. What's changed?
So you read the Globe and Mail.
Yeah, but I mean, so it was a totally negative attitude. But the fact that we were coming down, and the fact that we came down, we were doing we were partially a fundraiser for a fellow down here, and I'm not quite sure how that was all organised. You see, I wasn't the business end of the. I just went. I was 19, you know. Go to Newfoundland, get in a plane and fly. Jeez,
It was the 60s after all.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
probably,
what a thrill, you know, just to be out on the road and banging around, you know. So I didn't think about stuff like that at all.
Did you like it right away then when you got here? Then?
Yeah, I did. I had a great time when I got here. Really loved it.
and you're still here, so
Still here.
and Dermot chose to stay here as well.